It is very clear that the granting and strengthening of credits to the body that houses the being also strengthen the fixity of this body in the environment. Any credit is due to the being, not to the bodies or any auxiliary. Receptivity initiates any movement and is within the being, not outside of it. The knowledge and work of the being on itself make the being a child in the body it occupies, playful in the playground, which is the constructed environment. No matter how voluminous the points of abstraction that present themselves to the being, nothing else distracts it, because everything is dissolved in it. The metaphor of the black hole is perfect in identifying this process. The black hole, seen as the origin of worlds, is an attempt to concretize and identify the reflection of the greater nature of the being. From the central point of the being, look outward, and you will see what is inside. Look inward, and you will see what is outside, in truth, completeness, clarity, certainty, and even beauty. A world for the being, and a being for the world. In manifestation, it is the being that manifests, and any construction or concept attributed or cast upon the being dissolves in it, for the being is unattainable. It seems difficult to understand the concept of eternity, when the being allows itself to be carried away by finitudes, by the idea of a single life, by beginning, middle, and end, and by the association of eternity and infinity with an idyllic world. In the philosophical state of being, of any being, whether simple or complex, and within its culture, this concept is clear and predisposed. Wisdom is not debated, it is associated with, regardless of how the being is characterized. It is from the perfect communion of beings that those who concentrate the aspects of each one's realization are chosen. This is a process of extreme generosity and extreme love. Whenever one looks at the production of beings in science, using their limited brain to look as far and as near as possible, we find all the wonderful miracles that the beings themselves produce, for themselves and for others. At times, the being has small eyes, at other times, large eyes, and at other moments, the eyes of the being itself. The book only wants this, to show the eyes of the being itself, in unthought journeys, and far beyond the universe. The artificial eyes of a telescope amaze the space-observing being. The natural eyes of the being lead it to the same space, beyond and within. It is enough to want and use the same time spent constructing artifices, for their deconstruction. Perhaps this is a conduct of the mad, perhaps this is a conduct of moments of madness, but many solutions to practical issues, the establishment of scientific models, and everyday life have come precisely from these interrupted moments, recognized as genius. Let the eyes open to the things above and the things below. Let the questions be exhausted in the answers of intuition. Let magic be awakened in the being, as what it is. A unique repository of a fine tool, for the servant mage. Let the man in titles disappear, as well as the works to which he gives his name. Let the blacksmith manifest in the material fire, the hammer and the anvil, and the adept in the laboratory fire. Let the stars justify themselves, in the folds they maintain in time and in the temples, through reception and communion, during the adept's passage. Let the verb be understood, by the power it represents, and not by the figure imposed upon it. Let allegories and metaphors be eliminated by the natural understanding of the worker. Let the images dissolve in the very nature that fixes them. Let nothing unreal remain in the rebirth of the being.